Okay, so I've dried this a bit more. It's still flexible, but not quite as floppy. So when I work with pottery, I nearly always work in two stages. One is wet, and then I stop, and then I let it stiffen up a bit, be it forced with a hairdryer or a heater, or just waited until tomorrow. And then I work out what's called leather hard. So leather hard's more like chocolate. It's wet, but it holds its shape. So that's really helpful if you then want to work on the other side of something. So I'm going to turn this over and hang the ears down the side so they don't get damaged. There. And then I can put the feet on the bottom. So first I'm just going to shape these into little trotters, but knowing they're going to be trotters, I'm actually... So we need to put some feet on the bottom now. What I'd like to do is make them all the shape that I want. So when I cut them before, now I'm also going to use, rather than a knife, something soft to make my little cloven hooves for this little piggy. Yeah, so soft things make nicer shapes than hard things. So this will cut, whereas this will indent, and indenting is better. I guess you have to think about how you stick them on too, because if it actually would be a pig, they all face forward. And I'll do one more. So while I'm upside down, I start looking at my piece, and I know I've got to glue these on with glue, but I also need to work out what else do I need to do to it. And I'm noticing that there's a wrinkle under here that could be smoothed. I could make sure that the ears are joined really nicely to the rim so you can't see a line. And he doesn't have any eyes, so we better do that. And the other thing I've just noticed is when I've joined this on, I don't think that join there is very strong. And I'm a little bit worried about it. So if you get a little niggly feeling, it's usually right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack with a little tiny piece of clay and clay glue into this bit I'm worried about, because I don't want the handle tail to fall off. So I'm going to put that in there and jam it in and basically reinforce that whole section so that we know when this is an actual handle that my piggy's tail and the handle won't fall off. That feels better already. I'll just look at both sides and get rid of any wrinkles. And now I also need to glue on its feet. Bit more water in the glue. And scratch, scuff, goop, press, and again. Now these parts of it really need to stay on well. So just pressing is not enough. As well, we're going to have to work our way around every single one of them with a tool and make them stick well. So although I've pressed firmly on each one, I'm also going to now get in with my tool and work those joins. Sometimes I've got to stand up for this. If you don't work things, it sometimes comes off again, and that's not part of the plan if you actually want to use this as a functional object as well as a sculptural object. You can glue pottery items back together if something comes away, but it's actually better to do it right the first time. So people don't realise, but you have to be a little bit more firm and intentional when you're sticking things down to make sure it stays stuck. Now there's one other way we can actually do that. Just before I turn it upside down and put pressure on those feet to make sure they're well stuck, I'm just going to clean up this line under here because I don't want to see it. So on the sticks that I've put in your kit, it's just a large paddle pop stick, but I've actually cut one end so that you've got a groove like this for working around things and smoothing so that you can actually make a nice finish around something. And if you don't like the shape on it, you can always grind it on the concrete floor or something and make it more rounded or something like that if you want control over the point. So it's just wood, you can do anything to it. All right, so the tail's good, nose is good. feed it on, but now, really carefully, I'm going to pick it up and stand it on its feet and press from the inside just a little to ensure that those feet are strong. And I'm just noticing there's a little crack here where the ear got joined on, and that would be a problem after firing. So I'm also going to add a little bit more glue and just a small piece of clay and pack that up and fix it. So it's better to notice and fix things than it is to just leave it, because then it won't fall off and it won't flop. All right, so there's a couple of things left to do before this is actually complete. One of them is make sure the handle is sitting where you want. That piece I've put under there is not for keeping, it's just for supporting. The other thing is it doesn't have any eyes, so I have to think, do I want to use a needle tool and draw, or in your case you'll use the barbecue skewer that's in here, or do I want to actually just press the back end of something? So like for instance, this is a texter. Maybe if I press with that lid, it'll give me some good eyes. So you can use almost anything for stamping, but often I'll go find the thing that looks quite good. And then I might decide, well, actually, I might also like to put a smaller dot in the middle. So I got a pencil this time, and I'm going to put my little dot in the bottom of there as well. So now he can see where he's going. So the only thing left to do now is smooth it a little bit more, particularly anywhere you might end up using this. So you can use a damp sponge and smooth. It works really well. Or you can just use the water from the sponge and smooth with your fingers. And anywhere you think, oh, I'm worried about that crack, by all means get a little bit of spare clay and some goop and reinforce. So the more you fix things, the less likely it's going to have a problem in the kiln. So that's important. So what I will do with it is cook it in my kiln when it's 100% dry. So I can't cook it before then, but once it's cooked, I can dunk it into a glaze. And I've got a pink glaze like this. So this little piggy is going to end up that pink when I glaze it. So once I'm happy and I've smoothed, and the other thing you can do is set it off to the side and come back tomorrow, double check there's anything you don't want to smooth or tweak, because the whole form will be stiffer and then little details can be refined. That's pretty much all for that project, and the firing is a separate thing. There'll be information about if you want that done in the kits. Thanks. Hope that worked.